Hi, everyone. I am recording this Loom to answer a question that we received in our second grant matching session this morning, October 1st. One of our users asked the question, when you're using the Tribal Funding Registry, where do you start? And we recognize that we have users on across the spectrum as far as familiarity with grant research, grant writing, so on and so forth. And so questions are really helpful to us. This recording is meant to help folks understand, as a grant expert myself, for the last 12 years and working in Indian country for various communities and nonprofit organizations for the last over 20 years now. Here's where I would start. So I would start if you are new to the TFR, you are just starting your grant research journey, the very first place that I would suggest you start is closing soon. Opportunities closing in 30 days. Utilizing this tracker first helps you to understand, okay, within the next 30 days, these are the grants that I'm going to prioritize. So the user was working in the space of youth is a good keyword search for this particular user. What I'm going to do is two additional things. I'm going to only hone in on foundation, corporate, tribal giving. There are youth opportunities here that are federal. I know that a lot of folks are pivoting from federal grants to more philanthropic grants and foundation, corporate, and tribal giving. Let's click on state also. However, in these results, I notice that we don't have any state opportunities, which we're working on increasing the amount of state opportunities that are in the TFR. But I'm going to do that. And then this is up to you using the location focus. It depends on, to be clear on the location focus, this is for work that you do. So for instance, let's use the Hojonago Institute. The Hojonago Institute is headquartered in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we are registered and incorporated here in the state of Nevada, but we provide services across the United States. For the Hojonago Institute, I would click any and all US and US territories simply because I want to see grants that do not have any geographic restrictions. So that means I want to look at grant opportunities that will fund the Hojonago Institute for the work that we do with the Tribal Funding Registry without being restricted based off of geography. So using Hojonago Institute as an example, I could also click on Nevada because that is where we are headquartered. I could also, let's say the Tribal Funding Registry decides to do regional work where we're focusing, while we have our larger work, again, this is all just hypothetical, just an example. It's not anything that's realistically happening. But let's say we're doing our larger work across the US, but we want to have some special outreach or provide special regional support across the US. So let's say we're starting to focus just on the Southwest. So I would put in here states that are in the Southwest: Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, so on and so forth. But for purposes of this demo, I'm going to leave this location focus just open. And let's see what we come up with now that I have also just reduced the grant type to foundation, corporate, tribal giving, state. That takes out the 5 federal opportunities and brings me to 10 opportunities that are foundation and corporate. And let's also see what happens if I then take location focus to any and all US states and territories. That 10 goes down to 1. So if I was just starting, let's say again, as the Hojanago Institute, I'm just starting with the TFR, I want to find a grant for my program that has no geographic restriction, that is only foundation and corporate or tribal giving or state giving. I would say, okay, Patterson Foundation grant. The deadline is October 10th. It's coming up pretty quick. In this opportunity, you can see that there is estimated program funding, the minimum grant that they award, and the maximum grant that they award. This is information that we've pulled in from the organization's 990. So that's essentially a nonprofit tax return where they have to report on the grants that they have given out. So then I would take a look at the funding priorities here. They have capital projects, personnel funding. They focus on oral health, animal health, youth, agricultural leadership. I don't think this is aligned with the programming that our user is working with necessarily, but let's just say that youth agricultural leadership is something that they do work in. I would bookmark this opportunity. Where I would go next is to all opportunities. This is where in the front end of your work, you are going to invest more time to get to know not just the TFR, but you're going to start getting really familiar. We've got a list of about close to 900 new funders that we're working on putting into the TFR. So this is going to increase over the next week or 2 weeks. So we're excited for that. I would then run a keyword search in all opportunities utilizing your filters. So grant type, again, let's click on the foundation, corporate, tribal, and state giving. And then let's click on any and all US states and territories. 11 items. So what I would do next is take a look at every single one of these grants. Nike N7 Fund has launched. I believe today might be the first day. Applications are open November 1st, so it's forecasted. That means that we want you to know about this grant. You've got a month notice to start working on this grant so that you can get your applications together, or you can start strategizing around your metrics. What are the things that you need to apply? I would go through each one of these, take a look at their priorities, take a look at their mission, see if you are aligned with their programming. And if it looks like a good fit, let's bookmark the opportunities that make sense. Let's say, okay, skate park construction. While this is youth focused, let's hypothetically say, however, my program does not focus on skate parks for youth. So I'm not going to bookmark this opportunity. So that's the second step, is taking a look at all opportunities and then going into your bookmarks. You're going to find those grants that you saved here in your bookmarks. Nike N7 Fund, and I think it was the AMB Foundation was the other. So you're going to want to go through, and this is where I would take another step towards further qualifying these grants. So what that means is Nike N7, I hit the opportunity or announcement link. We know that this one is forecasted, so we won't have access necessarily to the information quite yet. Here we are. Not open yet, but maybe I want to dig a little deeper. who have they funded in the past? So we're going to look at the linked funder, Nike. Grant opportunities and 7 Fund. If they have linked recipients, and again, this is all in beta, so still populating information on whom they have funded in the past, but you can expect that this information will be there. Let's take a look at another funder in our bookmarks. I'm just going to click on, let's look at the Native Voices Endowment. Okay, so for this opportunity, we're going to take a look at the Endangered Language Fund funder profile. Funder profile is going to show you, so this one, it shows that they've given grants to Alaska Native, American Indian, Native Hawaiian communities, the total, and who received it. And you'll see linked recipients. So let's say that, let's just hypothetically say that this grant had to do with youth programming that was aligned with the user who asked the question, their work. So then I want to take a look at the recipient. Am I similar to this organization? Then I can also see, oh, they were also funded by this funder and this funder. So that can help you start to craft a larger picture of not only the grant opportunities, but the funders, and taking a look at the alignment with the recipients, the folks who have received grants from these particular funders. So also, if it's somebody that you know, you can reach out to them and say, hey, we were thinking about applying to this organization. Can you tell me your experience? Are they good partners? What was their application process? Do you have any tips or tricks that will potentially help me catch their attention? Could you make an introduction? That's really helpful. And then the third step is I would take a look at, so let's say I've invested the time, I've done my baseline research and I've found every grant in the TFR that's applicable to my community, the work that I do, all of that. So now we'll call it maintenance mode. So now every single week, or let's say every single week, best practices would be you're logging into the TFR and you're taking a look at the new opportunities added in the last 30 days. And you are just saying, hey, all right, what else is new in here? So grant type, foundation, corporate, tribal, state. Let's say I completed all that and I'm like, okay, this week I've got one new funder to take a look at. And that will help you to keep your grant research very streamlined and up to date, and it'll help you so that you are constantly updated and in the know. It's just chipping away at it every single week rather than, kind of falling out of practice and then you're coming back and you have no idea who's who and what's going on. That would be best practice for me, and that's how I would advise folks to utilize the TFR. If you're new to it, how to invest that time, and then if you are best practice, coming back to it every week, looking at the new opportunities. And if you have questions as time moves on, please sign up for office hours. We're here 5 times a week. We really want to help support you through whatever you need. Every single part of the TFR, office hours, any of these webinars or grant matching sessions, using the TFR, the technical support that we provide, all of this is entirely free. So as most things, we need you to utilize our services so that we can continue to offer them, so that we can continue to show that there's a need out there in Indian country and across Indigenous communities. so that we can continue to be funded by philanthropy and powered by philanthropy ourselves so that we can deliver this service to you all. No question is too complicated. It might take us a few conversations to get there, but we're grateful to be here. We're grateful to offer this service to you. Reach out to us, community@tribalfunding.org. Sign up for office hours, sign up for our newsletter, and just pointing out, save the date for our new webinar for Philanthropy 101. That's going to be on October 22nd, 2025, 8 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much. I hope this is helpful, and happy grant researching.